Morning everybody, RegiTime here, and today I'm going to be playing a 5-0 Zoom session. Why I'm doing this is, just wait one moment before I explain why I'm doing it. I'm going to call here because of Alex Tom stacking the small blind. Don't expect to get squeezed that often, and 2H is going to be way too strong to fold against somebody not playing a full stack and playing on a smartphone. Just going to try and get to showdown here. Probably will check call one bet if it's smallish and check fold the river. Now he's checked back 3 times. I'm just going to go for some very thin value. When we get called there, we're not going to win probably more than 50% of the time, but if we do win at least 50% of the time, it definitely makes it a plus EV bet. So I'm happy with the bet. The reason I'm making this video is because lots of players come to me and they're playing 5-L Zoom, and the first thing I try and do with them is to get them to stop playing 5-L Zoom. I try and just going to call with the King Jack offsuit here, try and play as many pots in position as I can. So just going to fold when that happens. There's lots of players that come to me playing 5-0 Zoom, just to go back to make the point again. And my first bit of advice to them before they even think about paying me for coaching, because I do like to have a chat with people first to make sure that I can help them, to make sure that they are looking for the kind of help that I can give. And my first piece of advice usually is find a softer site. If you're playing 5-L on Pokerstars, 5-L Snap, 5-L Zoom, you could probably make more money by playing 10-L Snap on 888. That's my first piece of stock advice, and I think it absolutely holds true. But having said that, I kind of want to see for myself just how soft or nitty or weak tight or whatever these games are, because I suspect, but I don't know because I haven't grinded them ever. I suspect they're going to be pretty nitty. Just there's going to be too much value that we can squeeze from them. Just because I don't believe there's going to be a huge amount of legitimate fish in the games. And before lots of regulars or other players come on to me, start saying even the regulars are bad. I get that. I get the fact that a lot of the regulars in 5-L aren't going to be particularly good at poker, but they're not fish either. By fish I mean people who are pretty big negative losing players. People who are having at least a loss rate or a win rate of, however you want to word it, of minus 10 big blinds at least. I don't think there's going to be a huge amount of regulars with that kind of negative win rate. Yeah, sure, there's probably going to be a lot of them that aren't beating the rake. But if they're winning pre-rake, then they're not adding an awful lot of juice to the games. And that's kind of what I think the problem is with these games. Not that they're really hard to beat, because there's lots and lots of good players putting us in really tough spots. I don't believe that for a second. What I do believe is there's lots and lots of really mediocre, it's pretty tight grinders that just aren't giving much away, and that they're saturating all of the tables. So we just don't get that many opportunities to play pots with fish. That's kind of what I think the problem is with these games. And we only make money from poker if we're playing in games with enough net losing players so that the rake's covered. I presume these games are just about sustainable in that respect, because if they weren't, they probably wouldn't run. But do we really want to be grinding 5-L Zoom for what, a 3-4 big blind 100 win rate. Is that really what you want to be doing with your poker? Is that really how you think? Is that really the best way for you to progress in poker? How quickly are you going to progress in poker? So yeah, you're beating it for 4 blinds 100. You're getting 1,000 hands an hour. So what does that mean you'll be beating the games for? Let me quickly do some maths on that. 4 blinds 100. That's 20 cents 100 hands. And we're getting, so we're beating, they're going to be beating the games for $2 an hour. I mean, how are we going to build a bankroll at $2 per hour? It's just going to take such a long time. So if we are winning, beating 5-0 for $2 an hour, and we somehow manage to grind, excuse me, we somehow manage to grind, I have to take a drink, and excuse me while I just get this frog from us, and we somehow manage to grind 100 hands a month, 100,000 hands per month, or 100 hours per month, anything like that. Then we're going to be making $200 in a month. Big deal. It's going to take us probably 2 months before we can even consider moving up to 10-0, and that's without making any withdrawals. And as a poker player, it's nice to withdraw some of our money now and again and enjoy the fruits of our labour. Who really wants to put, say, maybe 200 hours grinding in just so they can play the next limit up and still not be able to withdraw any of their money? So you put your, I'm not sure what this guy's line is here, absolutely no idea what's going on. I don't think he's bluffing, so I'm just going to fold. So I mean, who really wants to put, say, 2 months of grinding it, or even 3 months, depending on how long it takes you to play 100k hands or 200k hands? I mean, it could take some players that have jobs. I mean, imagine if you're a guy with a full-time job. You probably can only play, say, maybe 50 hours per month. So if you're only playing 50 hours a month at $2 an hour, that's $100 a month. It's going to take you 4 months before you can legitimately say, right, I'm now bankrolled for 10-0. That's 4 months playing poker without withdrawing, without enjoying any of the fruits of your labour. And that's just to move up to 10-0, where you probably then will have the goal of, right, now I want to get to, I don't know, $1,500, so I can take a shot at 25-0, and that's all you can really do in in tougher games. Is get to say 60 buy-ins for a limit, and they say, right, now I'm going to play 25-0, and then when you get to 25-0, you need to improve again to beat it, and then start making a profit. So it's entirely possible that you could spend 6 months plus of your poker playing life just to get to a limit to find out you've kind of almost reached your ceiling. Because 25-0 on Pokerstars Snap is no picnic. It's not going to be that easy to be able to beat that game for 4 bigs 100. So if you are beating it for 4 bigs 100, then you're only on $10 an hour plus your FPPs and things. So maybe, who knows, maybe you're on $12.50 an hour with a rate back. Is that really what you want to be doing? Do you really want to be grinding 4 tables of 25-0, grinding them super hard just to make maybe $12 an hour? Yeah, if you're in a country with a third world economy, that's probably like really something, a sort of goal that really pumps you up and really motivates you. If you're playing in a country that has quite a strong Western economy where the average monthly income is, say, I don't know, £1,500. I mean, what limits do you have to play at poker before you can get close to playing the game to a level where you can actually change the way you approach life? As you're kind of guessing what is a dream of many poker players. They want to change their life with poker. It's not going to happen. if you're playing on sites like Pokerstars and you live in a first world country with like a first world economy. It's not going to happen very easily for you unless you've got an absolute huge amount of time to dedicate to poker. So my argument is that don't play Pokerstars. Play somewhere else. Play on 888. Play on Unibet. Play on Sky. Play on all the sites where you're going to find other people with, where you're going to find less professional poker players at 10-0, which is kind of the crux of what we're doing. There are professional poker players at 10-0 on probably any site that has a significant amount of Eastern European players on it. And by that I mean Poles, Romanians, Estonians, Belarusians, all these countries where the average wage is like €300 a month or something like that. These guys are living the dream when they're making $500 a month from poker. They're putting 150 hours a month in. They're putting 400k hand months in. Happy to be winning at 2-3 bigs 100 and making a living. This is what makes these games so hard to beat. It's because you're playing against a bunch of players like that. Why do you want to do that? If you are a Western European player, or a Western European player, or a Western player from the Western world, or from a country with a strong economy, why do you want to be doing that? What's in it for you? Sure, if you just class poker as something you want to do for recreation and the intellectual challenge, then by all means do this. But if you want your poker to be a profitable endeavour for a decent enough number, and I'm just going to call down here, there's a very good chance of beat, but when he checks, I don't think he can beat anymore. I think he would definitely bet an 8 on the river. So I'm just going to put him in. I expect him to fold most of the time. Wow, he didn't fold. Yeah, so that was a nice pot to pick up. So yeah, if you're up in like the UK or Germany or Holland, Canada, Australia, you want to be getting out. You don't want to be playing 5-0, 5-0, 10-0, maybe even 25-0. They're not going to stimulate you too much. So go and find the soft sites. Go and find some money where you can play at a limit that stimulates you, and you can play at a limit where if you get good at that limit, you can actually start to make, upwards of $15 an hour without just grinding yourself to dust, without massively contributing to like the rake machine of the bigger sites like Pokerstars, Full Tilt, maybe even Party Poker to a lesser extent. I don't believe if you're in a game, if you're playing in games regularly where you pay more rake than you profit. So, for example, if you play 100,000 hands a month of 5-0, and out of that you take $200 out of that in profit, but you pay $400 or $300 in rake. No, that's not right in my opinion. You're putting an awful lot of time and effort into your grind, and the site's making more money from your grind than you are. That to me, that's not right. You need to be, for me, and not beating the rake means just literally being a profitable poker player post rake. I know that's what it means, but for me, I like to use the term beating the rake as in, are you beating the rake? Are you earning more money than the rake you're paying? So if you're paying $300 rake, we want to be making $301 at least for ourselves. If the ratio is worse than that for you, you're kind of just working for the site. You're generating, and I understand that they need to spend money to get, they would lose money in, etc. I understand all of that, but you could just do so much better. There's no way if you're playing poker and whoever your software provider is making more money from your grind than you are, you're effectively just an employee. And they're kind of almost paying you to prop their games for them to create the action so they can then rake people from the deposits. It's all well and good if the argument if they get people to deposit money on their site. But if people like us don't exist, creating the games for them, they're never going to be able to get to rake any of that money. So yeah, I think the balance needs to be better. And on sites like Pokerstars, the balance isn't good enough in my opinion. I think the sites are too greedy. There's too much money. Well, all sites that have the same levels of greed. They all want the same thing. But at least on softer sites, you can stack the deck in your favour more. So we've had two pretty bad flops in a row here. I'm going to see bet the kings for value. I'm going to check call with the ace queen. I think you can definitely take a stab here with hands like 8-9 or ace 10, king queen, king jack suited, all those kind of things. I'm aware we haven't talked too much actual poker strategy in this video, and we are over 15 minutes into it. But I think it's a point that why I'm making the video is to kind of prove that 5-0 is not a good option for you. So I kind of thought it was a point that was definitely worth making. I may have laboured it slightly, apologies for that. But yeah, if you are a recreational Western European player who is looking to do something with their poker. So by recreation, I don't mean a weak player, I don't mean a fish. That's another term for recreational player. I don't like it. There are lots of, I class myself as a semi-recreational player because I'm not a professional poker player. I play somewhat recreationally, but I have an income stream with it. If you want to be a semi-serious poker player that can make some kind of income from the game, but you're not that bothered about huge volume, then following my methods is absolutely going to be the best thing for you. And my methods are playing on softer sites, not being bothered about volume, and playing higher stakes. That's a good method for a lot of people in my situation that is just completely overlooked. So I won't make that point any further, but I'm absolutely prepared to debate that point. If people have got this far in the video and they want to leave a comment either on YouTube or on Reddit or on 2+2, all the places to post a video, please do leave it. I'm happy to have the debate with you. I'm just going to bet here now with my ace queen. When he c-bets that board and then checks the turn, I think he's either going to be giving up or I think he's going to be bluff catching with a weak king or a decent jack. He's going to have an ace jack here, king 10, those types of things most of the time. I'm not going to try and make him fold that. I was betting to try and make him fold like pocket 8s, pocket 7s, those type of things. I don't think I'm going to try and make him fold a king or a jack, so I'm just going to give up now. And, wow, didn't expect him to have ace 10 there. That wasn't one of the hands I expected to be in his check calling range there. Yeah, that was quite interesting. I'm going to play really exploitably. This guy doesn't know me from Adam. He can't know me. So therefore he can't have any clue what my range is here. So I don't. If he doesn't know me, and I'm not going to be playing in these games again anytime soon, or maybe I'll play in them maybe 3 or 4 times over the next couple of weeks whilst I make a few videos in these games just to make sure I fully appreciate exactly how these games play. Yeah. So I don't need to be balanced there. If I'm playing against a regular there in my regular game, I think I probably have to make a smaller bet size because I will want to be bluffing there some of the time. But there's really no reason to try and use the balanced bet size or try and even think about balance in games where you're not going to meet these players again anytime soon, or against a player that you believe doesn't care what your range looks like, and they're only playing their own range, their own hand strength. Against bad players, I guess what I'm trying to say. Against bad players or unknown players you're not going to see again very soon, there is absolutely no reason to be balanced. There's no reason to try and be balanced. Yes, so we've been playing 20 minutes now. My first impression of these games are that there's not that much aggression in them. People aren't applying tons of pressure. I mean, yeah, I've been 3-bet a few times in spots like steal versus re-steal spots, things like that. But I mean, that's pretty typical. You see that on most sites. I haven't seen that much out of line stuff. I haven't seen too much raising, which kind of is what the point I'm making. Look, we see an awful lot of pots where just nobody raises. You're getting like, quite a few walks. You're getting a lot of your raises are getting through. There's just, to me, doesn't seem to be an awful lot of action in the games. And yeah, we need action in games. We need action in games to keep us interested. We need action in games to make money. We need action in games to keep the weaker players interested too, because weak players aren't going to, or the recreational players, call them what you will. They're not going to stay in games that bore them. They're not going to do it. I mean, if there's nothing to hold their attention, if every time they raise, or they never get any action when they've got strong hands because they're just playing a bunch of nits who are nut peddling versus them, or the other side of the coin, you only ever see the nuts because, again, everyone's always getting best handed by a bunch of like pretty nitty regulars. That's not going to hold a bad player's attention for too long. They're just going to get bored of it. I mean, I get bored of it, and I'm not a bad player, and I get bored of grinding Zoom pretty quickly because nothing much ever happens, and then all of a sudden you'll just get someone will just crack it over pair with a set in a 3-bet pot, or there'll be some cooler situation where nothing happens for ages. There's like a couple of pretty big skirmishes in the space of maybe 50 hands, and then you go back to nothing much happening again. That's my impression of Zoom. So it's my impression of fast fold poker in general, but less so on 888, when I've done most of my fast fold play, because at least you do have some weaker players in there that are limping into pots, that are giving action with some weaker pre-flop starting hands and some weaker post-flop actual strength hands. I don't think you get that on Pokerstars. I don't think that dynamic is present in the games. I think it's mostly just a bunch of nitty, break-even, maybe small winning type players just sitting there playing a really tedious, boring brand of poker that just creates this really stale environment. I mean, I would like to have made a video like this for Grinder School, which is a site that I also make videos for. But when you're affiliated to so when you're making videos for a site that probably doesn't want to get in the bad books of any of the big sites by having their instructors not being too complimentary about them. It's not the sort of content that I would like to put in those videos, but in my own time, on my own YouTube channel, I'm free to do and say whatever the heck I want. So yeah, it's no secret, I am massively anti-Pokerstars. I'm going to peel here just once, because I think he's going to see about this board close to 100%. And now my plan is just to call down. When he checks here, I don't think he checks the full house. Problem is, I have lots of queens in my range. It's going to be quite hard to get value. So I'm actually going to bet really quite small, just to try and get a crying call from his Ace X, King X, maybe even, who knows, kind of jack. I don't think he can have a jack that isn't a full house, so I think that's probably unlikely. But I expect he probably called with ace high, with a sort of pair of aces there. He did, ace king. So yeah, I sucked out on him. Call me. Yeah, but I mean, going back to the point of making, I can say what I want about Pokerstars on my own channel. So I will do that. And I am not a fan of Pokerstars. I'm not a fan of Pokerstars model. I think it's a very good model for Pokerstars. I think it's a very poor model for micro stakes cash grinders. It's probably good if you're a tournament player, if you want to play different variants of the game. Pokerstars is probably good for all of those things. I'm not completely against Pokerstars. I think for people who want to play tournaments and try and hit a big score, I think it's a fantastic place. For players who want to play different variants of the game, Pokerstars is without question the most innovative of sites for introducing new games. So it's good for all of those things. If you want to play like sit and goes, heads up, sit and goes, those kind of things, Pokerstars is again probably the best place to play. I just think if you're a microstakes cash game grinder, which is where I focus on my coaching work, it really is the nut worst. Because they just do not provide you with good games. They do not provide you with games where you can make a significant profit without absolutely grinding yourself to dust. And they don't care either. They don't even incentivise you. They don't run very many cash game promotions. Probably bet fold here with my two jacks. I think the nine's probably not a great card, but we can still get value from worse pairs. This is starting to get quite thin now. I don't want to bet fold. No, I think I'm going to. Although I probably bet too much there to bet fold, so I probably would have had to call it off there. My sizing wasn't great there. Because of his stack size made it quite awkward. I'm going to carry on betting for some thin value here with my ace jack. Yeah, I mean, what's promotions the Pokerstars run for microstakes grinders? Yeah, they have a 80 billionth hand promotion now, and they got a 100 billionth hand, whatever the heck it is. They don't do anything else. They're running a few Zoom promotions now where you get to go into a free roll if you win X amount of hands with pocket queens or pocket aces or two napkins, whatever it is that they're doing it with. But yeah, not sure that incentivises anyone to. I don't think it makes the games that much better. I think all that does is it incentivises grinders to play even more hands, to get even more pocket queens, so they start the free roll with even more chips. I don't think it really encourages that many more fish into the games. So yeah, they're doing that for you, so you should do that for them. That's my take on that. Can I 3-bet this river? No, I'm just going to call. I expect to be good a lot of the time, but I mean, dumb stuff like that's going to happen too often. He's going to have flushes, etc. So my impression of this game today has been, yeah, I've made money at both tables. Well, I would expect to. I mean, absolutely no offence to anyone who's grinding 5-0 now and not beating it. But for a player of my experience, my skill level, I should be beating 5-0 Zoom for a decent number, without question. I just don't think it's beatable in a way that is going to help people make the kind of speed of progress that they want to make and that they should be making. You shouldn't have to grind out 200,000 hands at a limit before you can be rolled to progress to the next limit. That's just not how poker should be, in my opinion. It's going to fold here to the check raise. Not much good can happen on the turn. He's probably just got a set or at least a king. No, you shouldn't have to. And again, I know a ton of people are going to recoil in horror. But wow, if you're going to play 200,000 hands at a limit before you're ready to move up to the next limit. I mean, let's just put that in the context of how poker's been for the last 50 years before Pokerstars came along. I mean, did Doyle Brunson have to grind out 200,000 hands before he moved up one limit? Before he moved up from playing, I don't know, 2-4 to 4-8 back in the 50s and 60s, did he really have to grind out 200,000 hands of live poker? No, he didn't. Even fast forward into the late 90s, when I'm presuming the likes of Ivy and some of the other big name pros, who probably not even that good these days in terms of, well, good because I mean they're still crushing high stakes poker, they're still making a lot of money from poker, like Negreanu and Helmuth, those types of players. I mean, were they really grinding out 200,000 hands in whatever it was they were playing? Of course they weren't. What they were doing, they were finding bad players, good games, and they were mopping up. And that's how they quickly built their bankroll so they could play higher and higher. And in my opinion, that is still the best way to do it. It's harder to do it these days because the opportunities are much more limited. But if you're prepared to play on other sites, and you're prepared to have good game selection methods, be patient, be disciplined, not just sit bad games because you just want to play poker. Only play games when it's right for you. Only sit the right games for you. If you're prepared to do all of those things, I still think you can make a good hourly rate from just 2 to 4 tabling at 50 or 100 nil. Then you can make very good money. I think you can make a living from doing that. It's frowned upon. People are like, oh, you're a bum hunter, you're just a bum hunter. So what? Maybe I am just a bum hunter. I consider myself to be a decent, aggressive, tight aggressive poker player. And I choose to use the methods I use in terms of game selection and how I choose to grind, because I think it's just best for me, and I think it's best for most people, and I don't think it hurts the game long term. I see there was an argument a few years ago of how bum hunting hurts the game. It doesn't hurt the game as much as this thing does. This is what we're doing right now. This Zoom thing. This is hurting the game way more than game selection did. If Zoom didn't exist, Pokerstars would be a better site to play on. If seat scripting didn't exist, Pokerstars would be a better site to play on. I mean, to me, anyone who's grinding out 4 tables of Zoom for 80, 90, 100, 150 hours per month, they're a busy fool. They don't understand poker. They really don't. And if you're one of those people and you think I'm talking bullshit, call me out on it. Let's have the debate. You're a busy fool if you're grinding out 100k hands a month plus for 2.5 big blinds 100. If you think that's the best way for you to make money at poker, you're getting it wrong. Without question, you are getting it wrong. So yeah, let's have the debate. I'm throwing the challenge out there. Tell me why it's better for you to grind out 150,000, 200,000 hands of 10 Zoom a month than it is for you to grind out 40,000 hands of 100 nil or 50 nil on a way softer site. Tell me why it's better for you to use your method than it is for me to use my method, because I'm really interested. I'm going to get the arguments of I'm improving faster. Yeah, maybe you are. But again, everyone's improving with you. Everyone doing the same thing as you is improving at a similar rate to you. So yeah, you're getting slightly better at poker, slightly quicker. I'm just going to check back here because that river is pretty horrendous. That's the one hand we probably could have got value from. Or one of the hands we could have got value from. I'm not denying that you're making money if you are using the anti-RegiTime method. I'm just contending that you could make more money doing something else. And still work hard on your game. Still improve. Still be looking to improve. Playing on softer sites doesn't mean you're giving up on improving at poker. Doesn't mean you're giving up on trying to be a real sicko, trying to be a real good poker player. It just means you're playing your poker somewhere where you have a fatter edge, where you can just make more money whilst you perfect your trade, whilst you learn your craft. There's no reason the two shouldn't be mutually exclusive. The argument of, I want to play on a tough site to improve quicker, it's bullshit. It really is bullshit. Playing against better players, why does it improve you? How does it improve you? It just puts you in more tough spots, and yeah, I guess you get to practice those tough spots more. But there's no reason why you can't simulate those tough spots. There's no reason why you can't just learn from other people who are posting in those spots. You don't have to experience them firsthand to learn them. You can. There's other ways of learning. You don't have to experience it. So yeah, that argument, in my opinion, is bullshit. There's nowhere near as much merit to it as people would have you believe. I'm going to check back here, and I'm probably going to fold it if he bets, and just check back if he doesn't. I don't think we're going to get called by a worse hand here, so there's not really much point in betting. Just going to stab once on this flop, just to get into 4 pocket pairs. Anything that doesn't have a heart in it, check min raises, trivial fold. Yes, we'll try and just talk a little bit more about poker for the next 5 minutes or so of the video, because I am aware that I have been on quite a long rant there, quite a long monologue, but hopefully this video can be something I can point players to, and if they want to understand my poker philosophy in future, this can be a video that I can frequently link people to and say, this is, you want to know why I hate Pokerstars, you want to know why I think what you're doing is wrong, rather than me type it all out for the millionth time, watch this video, and if you don't agree with what I'm saying, then I'm probably not going to be the coach for you. I'm going to check raise here. I don't think he's going to fold a jack or better. Yeah, I'm going to make him fold his bluffs, big deal. I don't care about making him fold his bluffs, I care about getting value from jack X or better. And when he folds, big deal. It really doesn't matter. I'm not going to call this bet. I think when he bets that large into 2 players, he's going to have a king way too often, or better. Yep, so now I've stopped my rant. You just heard the silence for approximately 45 seconds. That silence was because nothing was happening. That, my friends, is fast fold poker in a nutshell. Most of the time, nothing's happening. I was tempted to call there with the 6-3 suited, but I think it's maybe just a little bit too weak. I was going to call here because we were super deep, but now this guy's 3-bet under the gun +1. We just fold our hand. So if you have got this far in the video, I guess that means you've been either liking what you've been hearing, or you're looking for a cure for insomnia. But hopefully it's the first thing. If you have liked what you've heard and you would like to talk to me some more about perhaps receiving some coaching from me talking to me about learning more about my methods, about how I make my money from poker. And please do get in touch. Write the comments section on YouTube, which I monitor regularly. I get email alerts if anyone comments, so I will respond to you pretty quickly. Please respond on Reddit or on 2plus2 or wherever else you see this video. Going to defend that 7-9. He's made it a pot size open, but we're deep with him, and we've also got a potential fish in the pot, which protects me against this guy bluffing too often, which I'm not too worried about being bluffed off 7-9 high. But it does mean that I get to realise my equity a little bit more, because he's not just going to auto stab as often because of the presence of this fish. I'm not sure why I'm hanging around so much there, because there's nothing to hang around for. I'm just folding. Right, so we've turned another queen here. I'm going to just triple barrel here to try and get him off pairs that aren't a queen. If I get raised, I'm obviously going to fold. That's not a problem. He called again pretty quickly. So what do we think his range looks like? I think it's going to be Queen X, and worse, back pocket pairs worse than a queen. It's kind of hard for him to have. Queen's hard to make trips. Of course he can have a queen. But I'm just going to try and bluff him off a hand like 9x pocket tens. And this could easily be a very bad bluff. When he raises, I mean, I'm presuming he's just going to have a full house most of the time. Sometimes he's going to have a flush, most of the time he's going to have a full house. Don't think he does this with the queen too often. Really easy fold. So there we go, the first time I've actually run any kind of bluff in the entire session. And unfortunately it got picked off. But that's going to happen more in games where people generally have stronger ranges, because they're just auto-folding a bunch. So yeah, if you do want to get in touch with me, there's lots of ways to get in touch. RegiTime on Reddit, just send me a PM. Reg74 on 2plus2 is another one. RegiTime on Grinder School is another way to get in touch with me. Reg on Microgrinder is another way to get in touch. And then obviously just using the YouTube comment section. If you do want to get in touch, there are a plethora of options for you, and I hope some of you do. We're just going to play around to our blinds now, and we're going to wind the session up. I would like to say I've enjoyed the session, but I really haven't. It's been quite dull. But I've enjoyed having the platform to make a lot of points that I've wanted to make for quite a while. I probably will be back making some more firing up videos, but it will depend on the feedback I get from this. If I get good feedback, I may make some more. But based on the session I've just played there, my opinions on the games haven't changed. They're the same as they were before the session as they are now. So until the next time, good luck everybody, and take care. Bye for now.